Highland Haven Australian Shepherds and Highland Haven Dog Training. And welcome to Season 2, Episode 4, Jacob tells me, of Dog for Thought. Joining me is my co-host, daughter, and dog trainer extraordinaire, Sophie.
Hi, everyone.
And we do have two special guests today. It's our first guest episode for Season 2, so you guys will have to roll with us a little bit. It's going to be a little glitchy, but our good friend Nancy Butterfield and our good friend Monica Uruchima.
Hello.
So let me take a second, guys, and give you their bios. We're going to have a grooming episode, and these guys are both groomers. So let me do their bios, and then we're going to go into the show. Okay? All right, we'll start with you, Nancy. Gotta put my glasses on.
It's very serious. Serious business here.
Nancy Butterfield is a longtime resident of Yorktown, New York, and has dedicated 44 years of her life to the art of pet grooming. Her journey began with formal training at the International School of Animal Arts in Manhattan, where she earned her pet grooming certification. Over the span of her career, Nancy has owned and managed several successful businesses in the pet grooming industry. She founded and operated Pawfection grooming salons in Mohegan Lake and Bedford Hills, New York, as well as the Pink Dog Pet Salon in Lincolndale, New York. Each establishment likely bore her hallmark of excellence and care for pets under her supervision. Welcome, Nancy.
I feel so special. Thank you.
Woo! Yeah, we should do a little class.
So,
I can add a lot more to that, just so you know.
yeah, we're going to keep it in a minute.
Okay.
Nancy has a lot to say. You guys will learn that. And Monica Uruchima, also a family friend, started her grooming career in 2014 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where she earned her dog grooming certification from PetSmart. She's had many jobs in the pet industry, like dog walking, dog sitting, dog daycare, but during the pandemic, shifted her focus back to full-time grooming. She currently owns and operates Oh My Dog New York, her in-home pet grooming service. Sophie and I met Monica when we worked with her in 2018. She is part of the infamous dog friends that come to our house, and the infamous group who can hang out with all 9
9 of our dogs.
9. How many dogs do we have?
9.
9 of our dogs at the same time.
Yeah.
So we're so happy to have you guys here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, I think we've only ever had one guest, right?
Yeah, and it was the geneticist.
Yeah, and he was via Zoom. So we've never done in-person interviews. So we chose Nancy and Monica to do this because we think it's going to be kind of glitchy.
Yeah.
And they'll be so tolerant. They'll be so tolerant of our
Well, we wore our dog
inexperience.
shirts.
Oh yeah, I'm the Inner Circle Club. Hello.
I have the poodle from DMK Boutique.
Okay.
Put that in Instagram.
That's cool.
And I see Monica's wearing her scissors. And
Poodle.
I'm wearing my poodle.
Yeah.
We already have this connection.
Aw, you know.
Yeah. Well,
Although your nails look much better than mine. So I'm kind of questioning the grooming.
He's always had long nails.
Yeah, it's killing me.
Yeah, and they were much longer than that back in the day.
And they look good.
Like talons.
I need to get them done. So it's
Oh, they look good. So you need a nail trimming? Is that what you're saying?
Get the Dremel out.
all right. So before we go into the grooming, let's do a dog update.
Yep.
At Highland Haven. What's been going on?
So we've been packing up our stuff and trying to move and stuff like that. So
Right. So we've been showing the house.
showing the house, and we had to get all the dogs out of the house and then do all the training dogs still. So it's been very chaotic.
Yeah. So we had I think 13 dogs here.
Yeah.
9 of them are ours,
Yep.
and then we had 4 training/boarding dogs.
Yep.
And they got to stay because they're in a separate room in the house that the people who are viewing the house did not see. So
Yep.
they had a normal schedule.
Yep, normal
They stayed on their
schedule.
regular schedule.
Lucky
ducks.
them.
Yeah. But the rest of us had to leave the house for many hours at a time yesterday. So you and I had to sort of come back and continue working with the training dogs. But our dogs went over to Lillian's, who is Gary's stepmom.
Yep.
She let us hang out in the yard. And the dogs did great.
They did great. It was a little bumpy because it was a new place and everything was, they were reacting at everything, but we did some of just our normal stuff, some of our quality of life skills, just scatter feeding, and we brought bones one day, and so we just have been
We
trying
have the crates, 4 crates set up inside. So again, a great example of why crate training is so important.
Yep, just like last episode we talked about.
And I think the thing that struck me the most about yesterday was that, you know, the dogs were pretty stressed initially because we're in a new neighborhood, even though the yard is fenced and it's pretty private, you know, all the different sounds they're not used to. Like cars, we sit back from the road, but that's right on the road, and people walking by with dogs and bikes
talking and
people even just talking was very triggering for some of our dogs, like Meadow. It's very easily triggered. But Journey, who is our most brittle dog, who we talked about ad nauseum, did the best, I think, out of the whole group, which was really interesting. So, you know, you're always learning, and I think that's when I started thinking about like why Journey was just like laying next to me on the grass, like this is no big deal. I don't know why those fools are running around barking and being hysterical. But I think that sometimes when you get a difficult dog, and she came to me with some really tricky hard wiring, right, that I've worked super, super hard on overcoming, or at least toning down. We know we can't completely shut it off. Sometimes when you have a dog like that and you end up working so hard, you end up with a dog who's like really bomb-proof because you put all the time in. And then when you get like a really easy dog, you sometimes maybe don't put the time in because the dog is so easy. And then you go in a new situation like this, and that dog is like more stressed. Although all of our dogs did great. I don't want to insult our dogs because they really did great.
A great example was Remy. Remy was super anxious, and she's like the easiest dog out of all of our dogs.
Right, but
she was whining and
and we never really put that kind of time into her because we didn't really need. Well, you know, way back when she's almost 12, we didn't really feel like we needed to.
Yeah,
she's an old girl. So. That made me feel good about the work I've done with Journey. And the reason I'm saying this is not so much to be braggadocious about our dogs, but you guys know I'm not shy about bragging about our dogs, is that if you have a hard dog, like it's kind of a bright spot, right?
Yeah.
Like you do the work to try to fix like this one personality and you end up getting a dog who's really bomb-proof. And you don't even realize it because you put so much work into it. So that was kind of cool. It was kind of cool to see them in a different light.
Definitely.
Yeah, so exhausting. We got home, we brought everybody back, and the training dogs were like, why are you guys so exhausted? We're cool. And
we had a normal day.
Yeah, oh my gosh. We did not, but it went amazing. You know, we had all hands on deck and everybody pitched in. So here we are. So we did tell the real estate agent no viewings today because we have to have our podcast. And she was like, come again?
A podcast?
You want to sell your house or what? And I was like, we have to have priorities here. So here we are. So today's episode is going to be on grooming. And we, like I say, are talking to 2 longtime groomers. And you want to start with some questions?
Yeah, so my first question is, we can start with you, Nancy, because I feel like it will make more sense. But what do you think like the generational difference is between when you grew up, like learning how to groom, compared to like now, when you started?
Because Monica's a newer groomer.
Yeah,
she's been grooming for 10 years. She's a young woman. Nancy
is old.
Nancy's a boomer.
She's 61, not ashamed.
And been grooming since you were
16.
Wow. So that's a long time. So
and I have the herniated discs and the arthritis and the knee replacement. All of that to prove it. So look forward to it, Monica.
So how do you think grooming has changed over the last 35, 40 years?
It's totally changed. I thought it was kind of pretty unprofessional when I was younger. But now it's just totally changing. And groomers are starting to find out what they're worth. They're charging for it. They're learning, women, not just the men too, but the women are learning how to run a business and make money. Not just run a business and lose money. And that's always a big problem with dog grooming. You know, people get into the business because they love animals, but they don't work well with people. So they have to learn to work well with both in order to make the business successful so they can make money. And the grooming styles have changed over the years, and the breeds have changed. When I went to grooming school, the big breeds were Schnauzers, Lhasas, Shih Tzus, Poodles, Bichons. The Bichon was the biggest dog there was. It was a big deal to groom a Bichon. Now, you rarely see any of these breeds, and everything's a doodle. Doodle this, doodle that, you know. So you still need good skills, but I find a lot of the groomers don't know how to scissor. Can't hold the scissor correctly. don't know how to groom a poodle, don't know how to hand scissor a poodle, you know. But in their defense, grooming has to be done faster, so you're using more clipper work. So you're, instead of doing the scissoring, you're doing the clipping, which takes you half the time. And you know, time is money.
Clippers are now battery operated.
Right, and now you
you
have
don't have to
cordless
plug them in
clippers.
anymore, right?
You know,
Which
I'm,
is a huge
I'm
thing.
sure you do a ton of doodles, right?
Like half of
Yeah.
my clients are.
I mean, I have a friend who I mentor now. Most of her clientele is something with a doodle in it.
Yeah.
And she's a new groomer, and like 8 months ago, she was making nothing. I started mentoring her and showing her what she was worth, and she's doing a lot more clipper work. She does a lot of scissoring, you know, around face, feet, tail, things like that.
Right.
But I gave her my poodle, my black mini, blown out, and it was rough. I mean, it was like this. You know, she just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But, you know, so it's changed a lot.
Well, I think that also might speak to the fact that people have different expectations. First of all, there's no standard cut
To groom a
for a
doodle.
doodle.
Nope.
It's sort of,
Well, we know that, Sarah.
I know they come with pictures, right?
Monica knows that. Monica
Please
knows
make
that.
my dog look like this. And
Right.
don't, what do they say all the time?
Don't doodle my poodle.
Yeah, don't make him look like a poodle.
What does
I
that
don't want my
mean?
doodle to look like
My
a
poodle, my
poodle.
doodle,
Dude, you
whatever it
have a
is.
poodle mix.
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't want it to look like a poodle?
Yeah, and they want
Right.
that like round teddy bear head.
Which is
I feel like
adorable, by the way, when it's
the-
done right.
Listen,
Yeah.
no, listen, they're cute.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are a lot of looks, no brains, but they're cute. You know, they do shed. They do have health issues. So these so-called breeders have been lying, and now they charge, you know, $5,000-$6,000 for a doodle. And when you go to the groomer, you're paying $150 and up to get them groomed. And people don't want to hear it, but that's the truth. I mean, it's expensive to groom them. But there's, like she said, no standard.
Nope.
So basically, you can do what you want, and
Hope that the owner
hope
likes
the
it.
owner, you know, likes it without bringing you a piece of paper saying, "Hey, this is what my breeder
Yes, that's what
told
that's
me
the
to
best.
do," when like you're
happened
really
to
not
you?
a breeder.
No, but I've had like, oh, I want my dog to look like this other dog, and I'm like, your dog doesn't have the same features, so I can't really do that. But you know, we'll
Right.
try our best and see how that goes.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, you have to try to accommodate. You can't make a Lhasa look like a Schnauzer. Well, maybe you can. You can't do the long beard. That's
You
not
can give them
true.
the haircut, but they're not gonna look the same. You know,
Right.
the structure's all different. So
Right.
that's such a good.
I don't mind pictures. You know, I don't mind when they come in with a picture. I do mind the doodling on the sides of the photos about things that they want short and long. That sometimes would annoy me.
Yeah.
But, because, you know, we're kind of like set on robot mode. I don't know about you, but we just know what we have to do, so we don't need to know every single aspect
like
of
clip the nails, make sure you get the sanitary short. Like, okay,
Right.
that's like the standard.
It's like the
Right.
bare
Okay,
minimum.
got it.
And it's okay if they do that the first time
Yeah.
they're coming in because they're unsure and they're not really sure what they want or what you're going to react to or if their dog is going to like you. And I get that.
Right.
You know, you're leaving your dog with a stranger. So I get it. But, you know, after like 5 times, it's kind of like enough is enough. You know, we have a relationship now. We built our trust. We're good.
Exactly.
So how much scissoring do you think you do on a typical dog?
Pretty much what Nancy said. It's mostly like the face, the tail,
Yeah.
the feet, but for everything else is like a lot
Clipper.
of clipper work. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't really feel like people would know. Like my people don't really say, "Oh, I want the scissor finish."
Right.
So I never really had to work on it. Well, I never got the opportunity to work on scissoring much.
Right.
And then like you said with the poodles, I only have one client where I do the fancy poodle haircut, and I love going on her because I get to practice that.
Right.
Everyone else wants to shave and
But it's funny,
Teddy
but
bear
like
look.
30 years ago, that's all we were doing.
Yeah.
So we were wasting a lot of time scissoring. And it wasn't wasted, but we didn't get paid for it. You know, we were getting $35 to $45 for a grooming.
right.
That took us probably 2 hours to do. Now you're getting $100 for the grooming. You know, I mean, really, you can get whatever you ask. Groomers are hard to find now.
Good groomers.
Good groomers.
Yep.
Good groomers own their own business.
Yeah, right.
There are good groomers that work for other people, but they're hard to find. So, you know, with grooming, you definitely get what you pay for.
Agreed.
For sure.
Yeah.
And don't you also think that scissoring is much harder on the body?
On my body,
Just the
Yeah.
movement.
Like the-
yeah.
The
Especially
carpal
like,
tunnel is much
Yeah.
more common when you're doing a ton of scissoring, so maybe, you know, transitioning to more clipper work is really gonna
then you have
make
to
your
worry
career
about the weight.
longer.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
but
The weight of the clipper
the
can be
new
difficult.
clippers, I'm telling you.
They're nice because they're light.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about it. I was getting like problems with my hand. I switched to a cordless and
Yeah.
been good since.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
But years ago, we had cheap scissors. You know, there was like one company, I won't say what company it is. There was one company, they made everything, and you were stuck with that.
Yeah.
But now, you know, when you go to Intergroom,
everything.
Everything is scissors and clippers.
Yeah.
I mean, this year at Intergroom, there were a lot of, bows and fun things, coats and sweaters, but years ago it was mostly things like that versus equipment.
Yeah.
Now, you're spending $400, $500, $600, $700 on a pair of scissors, and if you drop them,
Yeah.
you're not happy. But
Gotta
it
insure
makes a
them.
huge difference.
No, yeah.
Your
There's like a new
equipment makes a
clipper.
huge difference.
Yeah, like every month I feel like there's like a new clipper. Like try this one, try that one.
Yeah.
So, I get you.
I remember when we were first like working together, and I did something with one of your scissors, and you were mad at me. You were like, "Don't leave my scissors there and let the dog step on them. You know how much those scissors work." And I was like, "Oh my god, I don't know anything.
Yeah,
I
people
thought they were
don't
just
realize
scissors."
it.
Yeah.
I had no idea, and then she was like telling me all the different prices and all the she has to get these ones sharpened and these ones,
Yeah, and
whatever.
that's not cheap either.
Yeah. So I was the only one allowed to use Monica's scissors.
And
Then
usually,
she knocked them up for when she
Yeah,
met.
then she locked
Good
that drawer.
idea.
yeah. And you always cut yourself when you first get them sharpened. That's what I was always cutting myself, and I always dropped them.
Oh, the dropping.
The dropping
hate
is
it.
really,
Yeah.
it's painful. And you don't put them on the table, but you do it anyway.
So this kind of leads into my next question. What is your favorite tool, and why is it your favorite tool? Like if you had to pick just one. I know there's a lot of tools.
My tool is my hand. Everything else is just an extension. Because I can groom with anything as long as it's sharp. But if my hand's not working correctly, I feel like I can't groom.
Oh, that's a good answer.
Yeah, I'm not that dumb.
I never said you were dumb. You just talk a lot.
I talk a lot, but I'm just a funny dog groomer.
Yeah.
With a little bit of smarts, a little bit.
Well, I mean, that you don't really value a good tub. You've been
No.
using that plastic
Crappy
tub.
piece of shit now. Can we say that? But it has been faithful to me for 18 years.
I know, but I have a tub that's
That my plumber husband put in for you.
Yeah.
he's gonna put
And look what I have.
He's gonna put it in
3
again because it's
Look what I
moving
have.
to the new house with us.
No, I've been using a tub. Well, the story with that tub is, so I had the store, I sold it, I had another store, got pregnant. Intentionally. Then I sold that store. So then I wanted to groom out of my garage because it's like a room. So we put in something that was just kind of temporary. It's made by a company it's plastic, but it's held up for 18 years.
That's how I feel. If it's working, like just
Yeah.
sometimes you buy a new thing.
But I would like to get maybe something that's stainless that's nicer than Sarah's. That
I,
would be nice.
Not nicer than mine.
Yeah.
maybe you'll take Sarah's and then she'll upgrade.
Yeah.
This is the second house that we've sold, just because we bought this house 4 years ago, and I got that tub about a year prior to that. So this is a professional grooming tub that I got for my 50th birthday.
Fancy.
Yeah, that
Nice.
Nancy's husband, who's a plumber, came and installed it for me. But Gary bought it for me. That was my 50th request birthday present. So I was super excited because it's just easier for me to groom the dogs.
Yeah.
Bathe our own dogs. We got so many.
Yeah.
So that was in our garage in the old house. Then we sold that house, and when that house was on the market, I had a big sign on it that said, does not go with the house. So we're using the same real estate agent, and she comes in and she peeks in that room, and I go, and that tub, and she goes, I already know, Sarah, that tub's moving to the new house.
Because it's really convenient to have a
It's
grooming
so
tub in the
nice.
house.
Oh, it's so
Real.
great.
It's so
And
nice.
in the kennel where it is, in the training room, it doubles as a slop sink, and it doubles as a ton of things for us. So
Oh, yeah.
it was ended up being the perfect place for it, and
And we can fit like almost any size dog. We've had a Saint Bernard in
yeah,
that
the
tub.
Saint Bernard
Yeah.
went in
No
there.
problem.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
I've been in it. When we had, no, I'm not kidding. When we had, power failures, I've gone to my grooming shop. I'm like, oh, in Somers or in Mohegan? Yeah.
And
you know-
bathed? Are you telling me
Yeah,
she
and I took a
took a
shower in the hot tub.
That's so funny.
Yeah, and then I was praying to God the landlord wouldn't come in.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. But, gotta do what she's gotta do.
Okay, well, I have not used our grooming tub for hours yet.
I've accidentally gotten showers from the dogs in the
Yeah.
tub.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
But
Sure.
yeah. What's your favorite tool? Do you have one?
I feel like what was like life changing for me was my cordless clipper that I got like 4 years ago, and it's still going. And I'm just anybody who asks me, I'm like, this one, buy this one. This one's great, and then everything else is extra.
I feel like I remember when you took that out of the box.
Which one did you get?
What is it? The
Andis?
Heine?
Oh, the German one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
that's
never
a
know
good
how to
clipper.
pronounce it, but I did research because I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this brand doesn't look that great. It's expensive, but it's
Yeah, it was like twice the amount of money.
like 40 years still going.
Yeah,
good.
no, that's a good clipper.
So always tell people, hey, this one's.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in buying expensive tools. If you're using them for a trade, investing in really good stuff.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's what you do all day long.
Yeah. So I'm glad I did that, and it helped my hand because I felt like it was starting to like give me a hard time, and then after that, and the cord just
the cord. The cord around the table.
So when I used to do some very, very rudimentary grooming years ago,
I remember.
we used to spray the clipper side on to cool it. Do you still have to do that with the new ones?
I don't know if she does with hers, but I do with mine. I use an Andis.
It's
Two-speed.
it's for the blades mostly the cooling spray. But
Do you do it do you still use it regularly, or the new clippers don't heat up like that?
You know, the older you get and the more you groom, the less you would probably use it unless you were disinfecting it because you're clipping faster.
yeah.
So whereas if Monica was grooming 2 months, she would take, 20 minutes to groom a foot.
Okay.
Whereas now she takes 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't,
Yeah.
unless you want to, disinfect your equipment.
Right,
Gotcha.
but if it's like a matted dog that takes more time, then that's usually when I'll use it more.
Yeah.
But for the most part, not. And you have multiple blades. The worst case, you just swap them out.
Plus, I don't like to
For
use
one.
chemicals either.
Yeah,
I don't like to
It
breathe
gets
stuff
wet.
in.
yeah, it gets all wet and
Yeah.
then the hair gets stuck on
Yeah.
clippers.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
gross.
back in the day,
Oof.
you can talk about all the tremendous flea dips that you do. Like you virtually don't do that.
I mean, it would
never did
cloud
it.
the room.
yeah.
Oh,
The
So
room
like
would
it's
cloud.
not since the invention of all of these heavy duty the drops in the back and the internal.
You never see a flea.
You never see fleas anymore. But back in the day, I remember dogs would regularly, and that's where you'd send them when they would
Yeah.
get fleas.
Crawling into the ear canal, into the eyes. They would all go to the head because you just did the body really well, and now you have to do the head. It was gross.
I've
Yeah, I'm
never
using
seen them
those
done-
It
heavy
was
duty
gross.
carcinogens, basically pesticides, to kill these fleas. Now there could be a case made that now we're putting the onus inside the dog, so we're sort of somewhat protected from that.
Yeah.
Although I would argue with you, when you put the drops between the shoulder blades, it goes into the skin, and when you're petting the dog, it's getting on your skin and getting absorbed in you, which is why I actually don't use any flea and tick products.
I
on
don't
my
either.
dogs.
Same.
Yeah.
They don't do anything. They don't go anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think what people don't understand about fleas is that they don't live in the environment. Fleas only live on other animals. So as long as your dog does not get exposed to an animal that's flea infested, they won't get fleas from just being out in the world.
Yeah.
So, and as far as the ticks, people get crazy with ticks, particularly around here, and we have a terrible tick problem. I still don't use stuff. When I find the ticks, I just pull them off and call it a day. It is what it is. We do treat our yard
But only on the edges.
twice a year. We do the edges so when the ticks can't sort of come in. But with the puppies, raising puppies and dogs, and honestly, I've had cancer, so I am not into having dogs that have pesticides on their feet in bed with me. I just don't want to be exposed to that. I think that mostly dogs don't. Their lifespan is not long enough, so for the pesticides to really impact them like it does for a human, because it takes a while for that stuff to actually grow and manifest into cancer. And so because people are long lived, we're more prone to getting cancer than I think dogs. But of course, I'm sure there's lots of dogs who've been given cancer from this stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, we can say that because we're privileged, because we live in New York.
Facts.
We don't live in Florida or
Facts.
Louisiana,
Yep.
where you don't have a choice. You
Yeah.
don't
We're
have a
back
choice.
out there, they get heartworm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
Everybody has heartworm.
Yeah. And
Or
I don't get heartworm
parvo
either
or-
because it's just non-existent up here. But
Yeah.
in other parts of the country and the world, these are not options that everybody can take,
Oh,
and I certainly acknowledge that. But when you can, if you can avoid it, all the better.
Mhm.
All right, another question.
So, what age do you think a dog should start going grooming? If they're like a puppy who needs grooming.
As soon as they're done with their vaccines.
Yep.
Like bring them in.
Easy answer.
Even if it's just for a bath, just so they're used to
So it's
us.
like 3.5 months,
That's
4
not-
months.
yeah.
You should go, even if it's for just a bath and nail trim.
Right. So they're used to us, the sounds, the smells. If you bring them in when they're 6 months, everything is spooky. And then that's kind of what starts the scary behavior for them, and then definitely work with them at home. If they're
And
needy.
find yourself a groomer that you trust, because that 3 to 6 month period is really 3 months to that first year. You're going through fear stages. These puppies are going through fear stages. So if they have a terrible experience at that age, it can be a permanent dislike and fear of the groomer. So trying to find somebody who you really trust. Word of mouth is the best, I think. You know, and interview some groomers to make sure that your puppy's gonna be. You're great because you're in home,
Yes.
so the dog can stay at home, be exposed to all the same stuff, but in the safety of their home.
Which sometimes is probably be a problem for you if you have a dog that might have an issue and now you're grooming them at home and you get interference from a customer, you know, things like that. So,
Yeah.
but I'm sure at this point of grooming, you can handle that.
Yeah, for the most
Newer
part.
groomers
Yeah.
are wishy-washy and don't want to go, hey, go watch TV. I
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we're gonna work this out.
Yeah, I usually have to tell people, like, if you hear screaming, it's a little drama, like, he's fine.
Right.
I mean, I'm not doing anything, so if they want to come and, like, look, I'm like, sure.
Sure.
As long as it's not distracting for the dog, I'm like, yeah, you can come in. Some dogs don't even, they know
They
they're
don't
getting
care.
groomed and they don't do anything. Sometimes they hear the owner and, like, that's it. You can't do anything.
Right.
But like the customer can't always blame the groomer
Right.
for behavioral issues.
Right.
You know, if you've now waited 6 to 8 months to get your doodle groomed and it's all matted, and now you go into a grooming salon with 15, 20 other dogs getting groomed, and the dog is upset, and now it has to be shaved because you didn't think to brush it out and research that dogs don't groom themselves,
Right.
yeah, that's a problem, and you can't blame the groomer for that.
100%.
You know, the groomer, you know, when people say, oh, my dog stops when I get to the door, you know, he's not stopping because he hates the groomer.
Right.
You know, there's a whole other bunch of issues why he doesn't want to be there.
Right. He hasn't necessarily been abused by
Yeah,
your groomer.
right.
No.
You know, dogs can say,
Most groomers, they love animals. That's why they're in the business. They're not in the business because they hate animals.
And groomers are probably the most patient people I know.
Yeah.
When it goes, I would like, Monica, I can't do this dog. You need to do the nails. I can't do it. And she would come in and the dog would be like,
Yeah.
and she would just be like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
meanwhile, I'm like,
It takes a lot of patience.
it really
Sure
does.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like it because I'm proud of the puppies because sometimes they'll start like kind of wild, and then like 2 or 3 visits later, they're like totally professionals. And I'm always like, look, like I had faith in him. I knew he was gonna be good. He was gonna be okay after. And they're like, oh yeah, I remember he was screaming for the shower the first time, and then now just sits there and lets me do what I gotta do.
Yeah.
So.
Well, virtually all dogs are terrible their first groom. I
Yeah.
mean, not even their first professional groom, but
Yeah.
you know, we talked about that last week when we talked about, you know, introducing being handled and being brushed at a young age, and that they virtually all hate it initially.
Yeah.
It's a sensory thing. They're sensitive puppies, and you're feeling this brush. You know, that's the sensory overload. For most
And each breed is
puppies.
different.
Sure.
I mean, a pug is full of drama. You're going to cut the nails and you know, I mean, a Pomeranian's going to be like, you know, I mean, they're all different.
Yeah. Exactly.
Know your breeds.
Then you get a lab or a Newfoundland and they're like, ooh,
I don't want to stand up. Are you
I don't want to
serious?
stand.
Your butt is the worst part. You need to
I
stand.
know.
And then there's no hook that you can like hook them up to like get them to stand. So it's just frequently just like
Yeah, well, they're not used to doing all that standing. It's exhausting for
it
them.
is. So I always do the butts first every time I do the new.
It
You
does.
can get the groomer's helper.
That's
That's
true.
a little plug for them.
Yep.
Groomer's helper is great. It'll cost you a few bucks, but
It
why?
works.
2 herniated discs. I wish I had that groomer's helper.
Yeah, no.
I
super
do
helpful.
now. But yeah, that's a good
Do you want
product.
to describe what that is?
Yeah, it hooks up to your grooming loop, and it has an adjustment that goes around the neck, but it also can act as a muzzle. It can act as a comfortable restraint, and there's just so many things that it does. But it also has, he sells another piece for the back of the dog. It keeps the dog from sitting, but it doesn't hurt the dog in any way.
It's like an extra hand.
Yeah.
So you don't have to like hold the dog there so he sits still. You just click and then that's what you gotta do.
Excuse me.
A little bit off topic, but did you guys hear the story about, I think it was a Mastiff that some people decided to take on a hike? It's like a 6-mile hike. I think it was out west.
No.
I don't know if I got this story totally right. But at the end, you know, at the top of the mountain, the dog lay down and wouldn't move because you don't take a Mastiff on a hike because that's
In
exactly
90 degrees?
Yeah. So they had to get the mountain rescue, and they had to helicopter the dog.
Oh my God.
And now, all right. To be fair, I might have that story not exactly right, but I just heard the sound bites, and I was like, oh, I can totally see that.
Yeah.
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 Fair.
Lay down, and I'm just not moving anymore. So, you know, I could see that happening. Certainly in the tub or on the grooming table, because they just get tired and that's it. They just plop out and that's the end of that.
I just do the butts first. It's easier.
FYI, I just want to say I am allergic to dogs. I'm having an allergy attack. Okay, just so you all know.
Why? There are no dogs in this room.
44 years, I'm having an allergy attack here, right now. Why? Why is that happening?
All right, do you want to do another question, Soph? Sophie did all the work on this episode.
Well,
I didn't do anything.
I have a lot of questions, partly because like I didn't
You do
really
grooming.
groom. I just was a over embellished bather. So like we worked a lot together, and then I would go to Nancy and be like, "Oh, I groomed like 50 dogs today." Well, it was like 5, but and then I'd be like, "Look." So you know,
Well, before you go into that, that's an interesting change in the grooming industry, because you used to have a fluffer, a fluff dryer. Of course, a fluffer is something different in other industries, but in the grooming industry, it's
Okay.
embarrassed. In the grooming industry back in the day, you would have a bather who would literally do all your baths and fluff dry them, so blow dry them out.
That still happens.
Yeah?
In big shops. Yeah. Like there's a guy, the guy that owns the Groomers Helper, that business. He has a shop. Oh my God, it's huge. He probably does, let's say, 30, 40 dogs a day.
Oh, wow.
All those groomers now get paid by the hour. That's another change. Whereas everybody would get paid a percentage. A lot of groomers are getting paid by the hour now.
Oh, wow.
And they have somebody fluff, nails, ears, comb them out. You get the dog, you finish it, and keep it moving.
And then you have the complete opposite of that, which is you, who is
Do
only
everything.
you own your own business, you go to people's houses and you do everything from start to finish.
And I did that too. And
Yeah.
that's great, because you can set your own schedule.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you're by yourself and you do it your way. And you know if it gets done, it gets done right.
Exactly. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Like you want it done right, you gotta do it yourself. So.
Yeah. And that doesn't say that other groomers aren't, you know. But when you buy, like I was by myself too, and I liked it.
Yeah.
And you also get to choose your clients.
Oh yes.
Pick and
You
choose.
do.
Right. So, you know, we can talk about that part of it. Like, I don't know anybody who wants to deal with a dog who's trying to bite them when they're grooming them. And I think the older you get, the less tolerant you are of that. And so you just fire that client.
Listen, it's not always just the dog. It's red flagging the client.
Yeah.
True.
True.
Sometimes
Well, that's
Sometimes the
true in any
client can be
industry,
worse than
right?
the dog.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoop, red flag, bye-bye. Nope, I'm booked, sorry. Can't get you in.
So
Yeah.
what's the worst thing that a client could do that could be like a red flag?
Yeah, what's something that you would red flag a client, or you would
Well,
fire
I'll
a
tell you
client?
what, well, I had a client, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off. I can see you were thinking. So I had a client, she came in, she lived down in Lower Westchester, she had a Maltese, and she would put it on the floor. And whenever I take in a dog, it's a new client, I get all the information, make sure they're vaccinated, and then I talk about what we're gonna do. So I said, oh, you know, what are we gonna do? When was the last time you had your dog groomed? How did you have it groomed? Let's put the dog on the floor, let me see what the dog looks like. She's like, no, I'll just hold him. And I said, no, let's put him on the floor. So finally she put him on the floor and his back leg was up. And it turned out he had tore his ACL. And I think what she was gonna do is,
how do
because
you
she
pay for it?
had me pay for it. And I think what was gonna happen, she was gonna hand off the small dog to me, okay, which everybody does with a little dog.
Yeah.
I have them hand them off to me rear end first so I don't get bit.
Yeah.
So hand them off to me and I put them right in the cage. I don't put them on the floor. And I think, and you know, anything can happen when you put them in a cage. I mean, turn your back for 1 second, they're always doing something they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
And easily she could have blamed me for that and I would have gotten stuck paying for it.
Yeah.
So, and so what happened with her was, red flagged her, told her to go home and never groom the dog again.
Oh, wow.
Of course I didn't groom him.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's nice.
But that's what I sensed since she came. It took her over half an hour to get to me. I'm like, I'm good, but I'm not that good. You know what I mean? Like, you could have found another groomer in Lower Westchester.
Yeah.
Why are you here in Upper
Yeah.
Westchester?
I think that happens a lot, right? A new shop or a new person opens up and all of the people who have been fired from clients who have been fired from all the local grooming places because of terrible behavior or dogs that are aggressive
Or terrible.
now flood that new business. You know, it happens in a lot of the dog industry. It happens in dog daycares as
Yeah.
well. All the dogs who've been fired from all the other dog daycares, you open a new one up, they all flood in and pretend that they're
And
dog.
they lie to you. They lie. Oh, he loves everybody. You
lie
bring
to
that
you,
one
right?
dog in, I'm like, no, this dog's aggressive. No. dealing with this
So
mastiff.
what are your red flags? When do you say no thanks to a client?
I think when they don't seem like they're trusting you, like what you're saying, I usually have disagreements with people when they don't want their dog shaved. I'm like, oh, like it's really tight to the skin, but it's only happened a few times where, they're like, you know what, this other groomer demats them for me, and I'm like, okay, like I'm not gonna hurt your dog because it wasn't brushed for whatever reason, and then they left, never came back,
And then they
I'm
think
like,
that you're trying to
that's-
do something to that. You're trying to make your life easier, charge them a lot of
Yeah.
money instead of do the right thing and demat them.
right.
But no groomer wants to shave a dog down.
No,
I guarantee
they don't-
no groomer wants to
yeah.
shave a dog
So I
down.
think that's a great topic to talk about,
Yeah.
the ethics behind dematting.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about that?
I don't do much dematting. I'll do like little knots, but I can't say I'm an expert at using like the big dematting brush and all that stuff. I know a lot of groomers know how to do it. I just, not that I wasn't taught, but I didn't do it from the beginning.
And that's a big difference between then and now, which is a good thing. Because back then we would demat
Okay.
and charge a measly $20 to torture a dog.
Mm-hmm.
It was wrong. We shouldn't have dematted those dogs. They should have been shaved.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not going to take care of your dog, I'm not here to take care of it. You bought the dog. You knew what you were getting into. You need to research it, talk to your vet, talk to your groomer, talk to them about it, and do what you're supposed to do. Get the dog groomed on a regular basis. So you shaving the dog down, that's okay.
Yeah.
There's no problem with shaving down a dog. You
Yeah,
should
no, I
worry
think it's
about-
more ethical.
It is more ethical.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it's hair. It grows
It
back.
grows back.
So get over yourself. We've actually, Monica and I worked together for 4 years. We actually had a client cry.
Oh,
Remember?
She went off on me. She thought I was
She
grooming
was
that dog.
sobbing because the dog had to be shaved. And I'm like, I mean, listen, I really do try to have empathy for people. I get it. I get that people get stressed and upset about silly things, but we're not permanently changing your dog. Your dog's getting shaved and the hair's going to grow back.
Mm-hmm.
And your dog is going to be happier for it and healthier for it and not be put through torture. And the amount of times that people have said to me, not just about grooming, but about all kinds of dog, the dog industry, when they've said to me, it's really about how I feel as the person and not what's best for the dog. Of course, they don't say it in those words.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, are you kidding? I'm not doing. I mean,
No.
do you remember the time in dog daycare when we would pull dogs out that stayed for a long, because they would board as well, and they would stay for a long time. And I instituted a policy where they got extra naps
Mm-hmm.
because they were so exhausted, and you're more apt to get sick when you're really, really tired. And I pulled 2 dogs out who were with us for like 3 weeks for extra naps, and the client called and said, why aren't they on camera? And I explained to her they're getting extra naps. And she said, well, I want to see my dog. And I said, well, it's really not in your dog's best interest right now to be woken up and put back in the room so you can see them. And she said, I don't care. I want to see my dog. And I had to go wake these 2 exhausted, I think they were Bernedoodles, up and put them in the room so this woman could see them. You don't remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
It's stuff like that makes you jaded. And that's a good topic to talk about, is to prevent being jaded when you have clients. To prevent burnout is really difficult.
Also, explaining to the client what is being done beforehand. Don't wait and decide you're going to take it upon yourself to shave down that birdie doodle without telling them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, you know what? I couldn't get the knots out, so I decided to shave it down.
In that
No,
case,
that's unacceptable.
I would side with the client there. I'd be
It's
upset.
unacceptable. Yeah. And then there are things that dogs do that are kind of weird after they're shaved, right?
Yes.
Like their big fluffy tail now hits the back of their bald back. Whoop, or you shave their face down. It's never been shaved before, so now they're gonna
Scratch.
scratch their ear because you plucked out the hair in the ears and it shouldn't have been plucked out, or it should have been plucked out. I mean, you can go on and on.
You
They're
shave their
privates.
mask on their sanitary, and they get a rash because they had
And then
mats
they're like,
there.
oh, you did this to
You
my
caused
dog.
that.
And I was
Right.
like,
Yeah.
no, we already talked about this. So I think that's the biggest thing and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, is really explaining to your clients, like, this is exactly what's going to
And this is
happen,
what could
and
happen.
this is what could happen, and being super upfront. So if you're shaving that dog and you see that there's a cut on them, you take a picture of that cut and being like, I saw this after I shaved this big patch of fur. I didn't do this. Because if you don't tell them that, then they immediately blame the groomer.
Right.
When it wasn't you know, they must have gone to daycare and got punctured or whatever. Something could have happened, and it's not your fault.
Listen, I used to groom my own Newfoundland, and he had allergies, and after the grooming, he would scratch. And, you know, I'd give him back to my mom, and he'd have a big hot spot this big on his back from scratching. After the grooming, he did it every 6 weeks.
Right.
That was just, you know, we changed his food, we tried everything with him. And that's just the way it was. But if it was a client, they would be like, what's going on? This dog looks like, you know, what did you do to him? And he would do it in 5 minutes.
Yep.
Oh,
You put him away, bam, hot spot. But now you barely get any hot spots because there's a lot of different shampoos.
Oh yeah.
All these customized shampoos that groomers buy.
No more Dawn dish soap.
Yeah,
No shade. But no more Dawn dish soap.
never use that.
I was not
Nope.
taught with that. So, but I mean, I just feel like when you go to the dentist in that 6 months that you have to go back, like you brush your teeth in between. You know, you don't not do it and then go in and be like, it's your fault that I have cavities. You fix it for free.
Right.
So same thing. If you want a nice fluffy dog, you need to comb, you need to brush, you need to, you know, maintain it.
And
It's a
let's
lot
be
of work.
real. People have a weird affinity for those fluffy dogs.
Yeah.
It's not my cup of tea. The big
It is mine.
fluffy doodles, like they love a big shaggy dog.
Yeah.
It's not my thing, but I acknowledge that people do love that look. What they don't realize is that look takes hours and hours of maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and brush and comb, not
Yeah.
just brush. I'm like, oh, I brushed her yesterday. Did you comb? No. Should I? Yes, because the comb's gonna like catch the little knots before they get matted.
Right. So same thing.
Yeah.
When you brush your hair, you don't just brush the top of it.
yeah.
You brush down to the scalp.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I don't brush my hair because if I do, it just goes. But I hear Sophie doesn't brush her hair because it's too curly.
I do brush my hair in the shower because I get matted.
Yeah.
I get matted. That's why I keep it short. And I go every 6 weeks to get my hair cut. Look at that. If you can take care of your hair, you can take care of your dog's
But
hair.
the worst part is when they bathe their dog
Oh,
without
yeah.
brushing it and combing it. Stop doing that,
The pool.
please.
The pool.
Going in the pool.
Yeah.
The beach.
Well, there's the hair actually locks. When you do, I don't think people understand that. Like the knots actually lock into literally locks. That's
Yeah.
what they're called dreadlocks, right? It's literally when your hair locks. And people think, oh, I'll just bathe them and put a lot of conditioner on them and brush them out like you might do with your own hair. Not the same.
No.
Not the same.
So if it's this long, this much of it's matted, the top part's nice and fluffy, and they're like, look, feel, and I'm like, yeah, look.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's what it really looks like.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And, you know, it's just ethics of making sure your dog is comfortable too. I don't think people realize how painful mats are and how many health problems they can cause.
Yeah.
Not only overheating, you know, in the summertime if your dog's matted, but also, you know, like you say, skin problems underneath those mats.
All right.
And then, you know, it's traumatic to have them even shaved out.
I don't know. I gotta blame these doodle breeders. They're just filling people's heads with all sorts of stuff. You know, like it's low maintenance, it's not gonna shed, you know.
And it's not all hair, it's hair and fur.
And
So
there's undercoat to it. So
And these dogs, they're just a mess because people are like, oh my God, he's so cute, I love him so much.
Yeah.
You know, and then they don't want to bring him to the groomer because they want the hair to grow out and they like it big and fluffy. They don't realize that there's a happy medium there.
yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
my hair is long, but I get it trimmed.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to wait a year before you decide to do it and then it's all matted.
Yeah. And I mean, I know we've had this conversation that like when you breed a dog with fur with a dog with hair, it's like thicker. Like your clippers have like I remember when Bernedoodles were like a big thing when we were working together. You were like, I can't get my clippers through these dogs because it was so thick.
Yeah.
So it's also like it does damage on your tools, you know. So
Oh, yeah.
It
Sure,
really
yeah.
beats up your tools, just you know. So it's more of just being conscious of you know I'm having a dog that has a coat and having fur, and therefore it's going to be a lot more maintenance than just getting a poodle. Or just getting a dog that has hair and has been groomed or you know bred for generations to have a really nice coat. So
Like I had a client who had a bearded collie, you know, long hair, but she was old, and she would bring her in constantly matted, And one day we just had bad communication. I was just basically like, whatever. We're gonna shave the dog, just, I've had enough. And I don't know about you, it was just one of those bad days where I just couldn't get through the knots on this old, frail,
And it's exhausting for them.
13-year-old,
Yeah.
bearded collie who just wants to stay home and sleep.
Yeah.
And I remember just tears coming out, and I'm like, I'm done. Like, this dog, you know what? I'm grooming half of this dog, and the other half is gonna have to get done tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because that's what's best for the dog.
Yep.
And because I don't care what's best for you. You're not my concern.
Right.
And I'm gonna charge you for it. And that's why groomers have to say, I have to get charged for this. I have to charge people. You can't give away these groomings anymore. Those days are over.
Oh yeah.
They're long over.
And if you don't want to spend that kind of money on grooming, then you have to be comfortable getting a super short haircut so that your grooming lasts longer
That's
and
right.
you save money. It's sort of like this little cute haircut.
Yeah, you get yourself a cute little hound. Yeah.
Cut it super short and then it lasts. That's it. You're good.
You get a cute little hound mix from the south. You rescue them. They shed a little bit of hair. So what? And you're good to go.
Exactly. It's really buying a dog that fits your needs. If you're a person who loves poodles and loves to play with the hair, or even Dad when he had the Cocker Spaniel, that's how you met Dad. And he would come in and be like, I want this cut every 4 weeks, and ask for different cuts because that's what type of dog he wanted. That's not the type of dog we like. We like to do booty cheeks and call it a day.
But see, a lot of people don't know what they want, and that's another good business I wanted to get into was going in people's homes and talking to them about what kind of dog is good for their lifestyle. Sort of what you probably do anyway.
Nancy.
What?
You're so naive.
But
Nobody listens to that.
Nobody listens.
It makes sense, though.
But like people are like,
does.
I want a Saint Bernard, but I live in an apartment in Manhattan.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're not getting a Saint Bernard.
Go get a hug.
So the problem with that is that it's such an emotional decision.
Yeah.
Literally, people, I feel like they're almost incapable of listening to advice because they're like cars in that there's every kind of size and variety and color and accoutrement and size. There's so many choices that people almost treat dogs like it's like you just check the boxes. I want this, and this, and they get like this block.
It's an emotional.
It is. It's
an
very
emotional investment rather than a practical investment.
I see something and it looks beautiful and I want that.
Well,
I had a dog when I was a child, or my neighbor had a breed of dog, and I've always wanted that. I can't tell you how many times friends and family have asked me advice on what kind of dog to get. Okay?
It's true.
And do you know how many people have listened to my advice?
Probably not.
One.
My dad.
Yeah, that's it.
One.
Yep.
One. And it's worked out absolutely beautifully. Both times. He'd gotten a pug both times. I found the pug for him both times. And each time she was a retired female from breeding. And it's worked out beautifully because he actually listened. But literally everyone else who's asked my advice sometimes wasted tremendous amounts of my time, talking back and forth and talking on the phone and thinking, and then they go out and get a Rottweiler. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You've never had a dog before and you're gonna get a Rottie? Are you kidding me, Gianna? You're crazy.
The shade! Oh.
You need an
Gianna
outfit.
listened though, actually.
No, Gianna's good. She's
Yeah.
good. Well, what I did with Gianna is I waved a brand new puppy under her nose.
Ooh.
One of our awesome puppies. I said, what do you think?
Wednesday day?
And she said, forget that Rottweiler. I'll take that one.
But isn't it funny though? It's mostly because people will I'll look at a car and go, I love that car. I love that Porsche, or I love that Corvette. And then other people go, like my husband, he could kill us. But then you look at a dog and you go, oh, but he's so cute and fluffy. That's the dog for me. Cute and fluffy. That's all you need to know. Cute and fluffy. There's nothing else. And then they run out to the store and they buy that cute fluffy dog.
Right.
And then they come in with eye crusties and their faces all covered in that
nails.
brown slobber stuff, and they're like, and you're like, yeah, super cute and fluffy.
I'm sorry, I have a real doodle peeve. I do. I have a doodle peeve. I do like doodles. It's just like, I don't understand why you would buy a doodle when you can have a beautiful golden retriever.
Or a poodle.
That you
poodle.
know is going to have certain health problems from a reputable breeder. and you know everything about the dog, but you'll go to somebody who's in their backyard breeding these doodles, and you'll pay $5,000-$6,000 for it. Drives me crazy. And then they're mixing these dogs that should never be mixed.
Well, I think it's really frustrating from like a breeder standpoint of all the different mixes. And like let me tell you, like a regular doodle, I love a regular doodle, but
You mean like an Australian
Doodle.
Australian Labradoodle, I think are great. I think I mean, it could be worse.
Okay,
Like,
so let's
let's
explain what the difference is. So
Yeah.
an Australian Labradoodle is a lab and a poodle mix,
Yeah.
right? It's called Australian only because they were originally developed in Australia. So an Australian Labradoodle is not an Australian Shepherd and a poodle.
Yeah.
That's an Aussie Doodle. That's different.
Right.
Yeah.
So an Australian Labradoodle actually does have cultivated bloodlines.
Yes.
They have generational stuff. They've actually made a real breed out of it to the point where that breed is now a breed.
It's a breed,
and they're
yeah.
actually going to be in the AKC in the
Yes.
next 10 years.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Yeah. Because they have all of the pedigree behind it that you required when you develop a new breed. Okay, so if someone says to me they have an Australian Labradoodle, it's not my cup of tea. I would never get one because it just doesn't fit my lifestyle. But one, I know that they're going to be nicely bred generally.
Yep.
And they're going to be great to train.
Yep.
I love working with doodles
Super
and
biddable,
training,
super
sweet
smart.
and loving and silly.
Silly.
You know, so
Yes,
from
silly.
Sophie's and my point of view, when we're talking about behavior and training,
Yeah.
I generally love working with doodles. Again, it's not my aesthetic, but I think they're great for so many families.
Yes.
Yes.
But for groomers, it's different because now you've got newfie doodles. I mean, try to get your clippers through that.
I know.
I don't know about
It's
you,
insanity.
but when you're grooming a purebred dog, let's say a golden retriever comes in, you know what to expect. You know, an Aussie comes in, you know what to expect. A poodle comes in, you pretty much know what to expect. With all these new breeds popping up, these made-up breeds, you don't know what to expect as a groomer. And that's where a lot of groomers get bit.
Yeah.
Because they're thinking, well, this dog's mixed with a poodle. I'm sure that whine them around a pug poodle thing is just going to be great. And they're not. And it really is hard for a groomer to work on these dogs.
And you don't know the size, so you could
No.
get a Bernedoodle, and either we're bringing in a Bernedoodle, blah 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 blah. They give you like a range of the size, right? And then they bring it in, and it's huge, and you're like, what? I thought it was gonna be a little thing. You
Yeah.
said it was gonna be a little thing, and it's like this huge dog that you have to take 4 to 5 hours to groom.
That's the
And you're
first
like,
question I ask when they say I have a doodle, a Labradoodle, a Bernedoodle, whatever kind of doodle.
What's
I
the
say,
size?
how many pounds is it?
Yes.
Because you really, literally have no idea.
No.
It could be a giant doodle,
Yeah.
or it could be a micro doodle.
Yeah, I've seen like the little.
They have like the little ones with
We've
the
had-
little short legs and stuff, and those ones
We've
are
had a
cute.
bunch of those clients. Actually,
Yeah.
I think I sort of roll my eyes at the micro Bernedoodle label.
Yeah,
But I
know
have to
guys.
say, the ones that we have trained have been
Yeah.
adorable, lovely dogs.
Yeah.
They really have been.
Yeah.
So we do need to wind this up, but before we do, I want to talk about one other pet peeve grooming topic, and that is shaving dogs with fur.
Oh,
You want to start on your feelings about shave? So just to make sure everybody knows what we're talking about when we say that is dogs either have hair, like we do, where it grows and grows and grows, and
You
it
have to
needs to
cut
be
it.
cut,
Mhm.
or they have fur, which only grows to a certain length and sheds and falls out, like a Siberian Husky as opposed to a poodle.
Yes.
Okay. So a Siberian Husky will likely not get matted throughout their life. It's possible, but unlikely because the hair just falls out seasonally.
Yeah.
Whereas a poodle, if you don't groom them, the hair will continue to grow throughout their lives. So some people will get a Siberian Husky and say, I can't deal with the hair anymore. And bring it to the groomer and ask the groomer to shave it. So, thoughts, Monica, on that?
I always try to educate people before they do this for the first time. Some people already would have done it, you know, by somebody else or themselves. But if they never have, I'm like, you know, just FYI, like you are taking like a 50-50 risk that the hair is gonna grow back, if it does at all, or, you know, it'll be fine. You know, it'll be fine, or they get alopecia from the first time, and then you have a dog that has like random
No, I didn't know that happened.
hairs. Yeah, like a 50-50 chance, you know.
Really?
Sometimes some dogs have been shaved their whole lives and nothing, the hair just looks normal. Some
Well,
dogs.
it never looks normal. Let's be clear.
Yeah. But
Well,
it doesn't
everybody in this room can spot a dog who has fur
Mhm.
that's been shaved,
Yeah.
even once.
Yep.
And it's like because it permanently changes the coat when it
Right.
comes
Like
in.
Beasley.
Yeah.
We can tell when you got your more recent dog a couple years ago.
Yeah.
We both had a conversation. I was like, this dog's been shaved.
Yeah.
So Beasley is a mini or toy?
She's
toy
a toy.
She's a toy Australian Shepherd. I'll have you know.
She's adorable.
Yeah.
But
her
she
hair
should have never been shaved.
No, but you could tell, and then it's
It's
been
like a Pomeranian now.
yeah, it's been like
not.
5 years, and now it looks like normal-ish.
Mhm.
But yeah, I always tell people like this is the risk that you're taking. Some people are like, oh, you know what? Then let's just do like a de-shedding. Cool, they'll listen. Sometimes next time they're like, you know what? I'm willing to take the risk, and I'm like, okay, like what? I mean, what? It's your dog. I don't live with your dog, and you know, I don't love it because I get hair splinters. I get itchy. It does take a toll on my tools as well to be shaving that kind of thing. But
And it makes their dog hotter, so it actually doesn't cool their dog off.
No, it
which I
doesn't
feel
cool
like
off. It doesn't make them shed less.
yeah,
So all the
This is
reasons you do it,
it actually doesn't do anything.
yeah.
Please let me talk, please, God.
Go ahead, Nancy. Go. Take the
All
floor.
right, Nancy.
I can't.
Bring us home,
I can't
Nancy.
bring you home. Okay, I've had both poodles and Pomeranians. I've shaved my Pom because I couldn't stand brushing him out anymore. But he was my dog. His hair grew in crappy. And it never was right, and it would come in spotty, he'd get alopecia. It was a hot mess, but he was my dog. Then I have a poodle who I've also shaved out, who looks better when he's in his full cut, and that was that. But when I get to work, it's a whole other Nancy. Stopped grooming Malamute Huskies, Samoyeds, and Chows because I couldn't take the clients anymore. I couldn't stand the arguing about shaving, not shaving. They just weren't listening. I didn't have time for it. I found that I made more money grooming smaller dogs than these larger double-coated breeds. Okay, that's starting one. Second thing was, no, I don't groom any double-coated dogs anymore, and I will never shave them. They're a hot mess when they grow in. Then they come to you 4, 5, 6 months later. They don't understand why the hair isn't growing in right, and now it's the groomer's fault once again. And like you said, dog could walk down the street. Oh, that dog was shaved. His head's this big now.
Yeah.
His tail and head are this big, and his body's like
Heartbreaking.
this.
When I see an Aussie that's been shaved, it breaks my heart.
But
And
here's
I
the
know some
thing.
of our audience have done it.
You know what it is? It's a groomer moral thing.
Yeah, it's ethics.
It's
morals.
what do you want to do? Do you want to shave that dog? That's up to you.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
So I choose not to do it.
Yeah.
But some groomers see, well, if I shave him down, I'm getting $150.
Yeah.
If I brush him out, I'm getting this. So you know what? Screw it. I'll just shave him down. I'll make myself a quick $150. The owner doesn't care, but the owner will care. They'll care 6 months from now when they don't come back to you. Or they'll care when the dog's getting hot spots
Yeah.
and the hair's not growing in, and like you said, it's getting alopecia.
Now they're shedding more.
Now
Now they're
there's-
even hotter. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
that
it's
always-
a lot of competitions.
It always surprises me because people get dogs. We just talked about that, right? It's an emotional decision and it's almost always visual, right? I see a dog, I like the way it looks, I'm gonna get
Right.
that dog. So they get a husky because they love that it looks like a wolf, right?
right.
And then they shave the damn thing down. I'm like,
Right.
wait a minute, why'd you get it then? Why did you get? I find that so frustrating. It's particularly for us, it's heartbreaking when we see people shaving Aussies because they're not designed to be shaved. It's not good for them. You know, people do it and I don't dislike the people. I get that people make decisions for all kinds of reasons, but
It
Well,
breaks
a lot
my
of
soul,
groomers-
man. It breaks my
A
soul.
lot of groomers feel like, well, if I don't do it, right, Monica?
right,
If I don't do
someone
it,
else will.
someone else is going to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I got to pay my bills.
Right.
So I know I'm going to do a good job, so I'll just do it for them.
Yeah.
And I totally get that. But me, I just assume not groom them anymore. And you know what?
Yeah.
For me, that was just peace of mind. I don't have to deal with you. I don't have to argue with you. And I just cut you out. And guess what? You can go find somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, you have
Because
other
I'm not
people
your
who do it.
groomer. I'm not the groomer for
Yeah,
you.
which is
sure.
fair. Yeah.
Which is fair. You know? And I get it because I've shaved them in the past. I mean, I knew somebody that had a 6-month-old lab. He wanted me to shave it. I said, for what? Well, I like it short, like a pit bull. I said, then you should have got a pit bull.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And to this day, the dog's like 12. He still gets it shaved every 6 weeks. And I'm like, why?
Oh my gosh, it's
And it looks
so
ridiculous.
Oh my God.
And it's still shedding hair this big instead of this big.
It's just itchy. It sticks on you.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't like
awful. Listen,
And they don't even feel good anymore. Like they don't have the same oil secretion. It's a completely different coat.
yeah.
And
It is.
Well,
I guess we're all clear on that. Jacob, would you like to chime in?
I agree.
Jacob agrees. Listen,
he has to hold the dogs in the vet and get all sticky.
That's right.
And
He
his
wouldn't
arms.
dare disagree with these four very.
I mean, I did
strong
groom a
opinions.
Siberian Husky, not a Siberian Husky, a Malamute. It was so disgusting. I can't even get into it. I mean, back then we didn't have good tools. You know, like we have now with the dryers and everything that blow that double coat out. You don't even have to brush the dog. You know, you just blow out the coat. It's great. That dog had worms in it. Actual earthworms, because there was so much dirt in the coat that earthworms were coming out because he spent most of his time outside. So it's like, how do you even get that dog clean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
You know. But,
Hours.
yeah.
Then they don't want to pay you.
Right.
Yeah, and then you're like $200 because it took me 5 to 6 hours. So what? You said the beginning price was $100. Okay, well then I had to do this, and this, and you didn't see the back of the room. Now I have to go clean that mess
Yeah.
with all the dirt and the
Well, that's
feces
why,
and the
because
piss.
when you make an appointment and you put it in your computer or you write it in your book, you write down what you quoted the person. And then when they come in, they say, oh, you never quoted me $150. I said, no, ma'am, I did. Because I put it in my computer or I put it in my appointment book.
Yeah.
And when you're efficient and you're organized, then you're successful, because that's the name of the game with the grooming.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys, we probably should wind this up, but not before we do. I bet it can make you cry.
She's like, what are you?
You're gonna make me cry? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, so this is
First
the
of all,
thing.
there's no crying in dog grooming.
So this is
You
the
just said
thing.
you were crying
When?
when you were grooming the old dog.
Yeah.
Oh,
True.
yeah. Don't tell anybody that, Monica.
Jacob stitches it in.
We're gonna cut that part out.
If you don't cry, I mean, for one thing or another. When it
I
comes
think
to
I was
the dog.
crying, yeah, out of everything.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so we have a segment. Being that you're too ADD to actually listen to an episode of Dog
She's talking
for
about me.
Thought.
Not you, me.
You
I just want to
wouldn't
say
know.
this. Being ADD works in dog grooming. It did for me.
Okay, keep talking.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So at the end of each episode of season 2, we have this segment called "I Bet I Can Make You Cry," and it's a feel-good story about an animal.
How is making me cry gonna make me feel good?
'Cause it's like a-
Only you would think that would make me feel good.
She's literally reacting.
Why can't you give me a good story and I'm
But I
happy?
can make you angry.
Then I can be happy groomer.
Nancy's happy being angry.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
All right, this one I don't think is going to make you guys cry, but it is a famous story, and I don't think everybody has the actual details on this. I think there's some misinformation out there, so it'll be a good story. So this is the story of Balto and Togo. Okay, so you guys, if you live in New York, you'll know the statue of Balto in Central Park, and he was the husky or Alaskan husky or pulling dog, sledding dog. I don't know exactly what his mixes were. That pulled from, I think, Nome to. Well, let me read it.
Yeah, just read it.
I don't know why I'm trying to give you the.
Yeah.
All right. When I say superhero, who or what comes to mind? Do you think of Superman, Iron Man, or Wonder Woman? Maybe you think of Black Panther, Captain America, or Thor. I don't think of any of those things. Your dad does, though. Well, and Jacob. Well, I know some real life heroes, and they aren't humans, they're animals. Animals with 4 paws and wagging tails. They're Siberian Huskies, the great sled dogs of Alaska and other snowy countries. Very brave and powerful, they can survive freezing temperatures and blowing blizzards. They can run for hours pulling heavy sleds, battling fierce animals like grizzly bears and wolves, and are smart, strong, and loyal. Hysterical in the grooming tub, but really good. And an amazing pack of huskies saved a town in Alaska many years ago. The year was 1925. It was January in Nome, Alaska. People huddled inside their homes as the wind howled outside Alaska, and Alaska froze. Families gathered around the stoves and the fireplaces to keep warm. Little did they know that a disease named diphtheria was silently spreading across Alaska. But one person did know, and his name was Dr. Curtis Welch, a local doctor in Nome. He had treated a few children for colds, which later turned out to be diphtheria, a dangerous and contagious disease. This was the worst time for diphtheria outbreak. Alaska was isolated and frozen. The shipping ports had closed 2 months prior in November and wouldn't open until July. Plus, the doctor's supply of antitoxin or medicine to treat diphtheria had expired. What could he do? Call in a dog when people mess up. He immediately contacted the mayor of Nome and started a quarantine in hopes of stopping and spreading the disease. But with everyone huddled together inside, the disease didn't stop, it actually spread. The doctor sent urgent telegram to public health in Washington, D.C., pleading for an emergency delivery of medicine. In these small Alaskan towns, the people had never been exposed to many diseases because they're so isolated. Diphtheria is like diphtheria, so they had no natural immunity or protection against it, and everyone in the town could potentially die. An emergency meeting was held and the plan was discussed to deliver the medicine by plane. However, the conditions were too brutal for most planes to fly without freezing, and the few planes that could make the flight had been dismantled or taken apart for the winter. Then they thought about trains. That was a good plan, but with one hitch. Trains could only go so far and the tracks were frozen and covered in snow. They then just considered a dog sled team. It would be a round trip of 600 miles and take 30 days in weather of minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit. The winds in Alaska were whipping at 25 miles an hour and the snowbanks were 10 feet tall. The problems with this plan is that the medicine would only last for 6 days in this brutal weather. So the doctor and his team decided on a combined approach. Train and multiply sled dog teams. By this time, 300,000 units of medicine had been found at a hospital in Anchorage. So we're going from Nome to Anchorage, which is the Iditarod Trail, but we're going to go back to that. By this time, the medicine was packed in quilts and wrapped in padding and stuffed into metal canisters weighing 20 pounds. The canister was put on a train for the short trip before being transferred to dog sled teams for the main trek, which started on January 27th, 1925 at 9 p.m. The Great Race of Mercy was on. The first dog sled driver musher was Wild Bill Shannon and his lead dog Blackie and team of 10 huskies. The dogs yipped and barked and jumped with excitement and were hitched in their harnesses. They could sense the urgency and were anxious to get started. The night was fiercely cold, but their thick coats helped keep them warm. Wild Bill snapped the reins and yelled mush to the dogs, and they were off. The team raced over snowy trails and frozen rivers. On and on they traveled through the frigid night, their breath appearing like steam from a racing locomotive. They arrived at the next stop at 3 o'clock the next morning, exhausted. Wild Bill was suffering from hypothermia, and his face was black from frostbite. The medicine was then placed by the fire to basically defrost at this point, and the dogs rested for 4 hours. They awoke and started the next leg of the trip, leaving 3 exhausted dogs behind. Wild Bill, Blackie, and the team arrived in Minto at 11 a.m. the following morning and passed off the medicine to the next team led by musher Edgar Calland. The team raced off through the forest and frigid temperatures, causing Edgar's hands to freeze to the wooden handlebars of the sled. At a rest stop, a man had to pour boiling water over Edgar's hands to release them from the sled. And while his life-saving race was underway, more cases of diphtheria were spreading across Nome. More dog sled teams were added to the race to save precious hours. The medicine was passed from team to team as heroic huskies raced for hours across the frozen landscape. The weather was so extreme that several dogs on one team passed away from frostbite. Geez, you never hear that.
Husky.
And the mushers took their spots, pulling the sleds alongside their own dogs. Soon, an Arctic storm was brewing. Gale force winds, dangerous whiteout conditions, and wind chill temperatures reaching 70 below battered the dogs and mushers, but the brave huskies of the Great Race of Mercy would not stop. For hours, they battled through the unrelenting snowdrifts and unforgiving terrain, their strong paws beating the snow, racing against time and Mother Nature. It was now January 30th. There were 27 cases of diphtheria in Nome and rising. All of the medicine was gone. Time was running out. Meanwhile, a musher named Leonard Seppala led his lead dog Togo and his team raced out from Nome into the storm to meet the incoming sled dog teams. They raced for 91 miles in gale force blizzard wind chills reaching minus 85. blinding snow pelting the dog's coat and slashing their eyes. They met the incoming team, transferred the medicine, and Sapola and Togo and the team raced off into the night, only stopping to rest for a few hours before starting again. That's really incredible. Togo and Sapola and the dogs made the treacherous trip up and over Little McKinley Mountain, a total of 8 miles and 5,000 feet in elevation in a raging storm. On the other side, exhausted and freezing, they transferred the medicine to the next team. It was now February 1st. The team took off into the snow and were blown off course, causing the Musters to suffer severe frostbite while putting blankets on his dogs. The team arrived at the next transfer at 7 p.m. that night. A new team of mushers with Gunnar Kassan and his lead dog, Balto, the famous Balto, and Fox waited to see if the storm would stop. When it worsened, they decided to start the trek before the trail became completely lost. They raced into the storm at 10 p.m. They were battered by gales and blinding snow and crossed Topcock Mountain. Gunnar couldn't see the reins in front of him or the dogs through the swirling snow. At one point, the sled overturned, burying the life-saving medicine in canisters. Gunnar dug furiously in the snow, panting with anxiety, his hands stiff with frostbite, but luck was with him, and he found the canisters, righted the sled, fastened the canisters to the sled, and shouted for Balto and Fox and his other dogs to run. They raced, now ahead of schedule, nearing the end, arriving in Nome on February 2nd at 5:30 a.m. with the life-saving antitoxin. The medicine had survived the trip and was thawed and used for patients by noon the same day, and the town was saved. These strong, brave sled dogs raced over 600 miles on a life-saving mission in sub-zero conditions and hurricane-force winds for a total of 127.5 hours, setting a world record. The dogs, along with their Alaskan and Norwegian mushers, were honored with gold medals and wreaths and accolades, but we all know it was the dogs who saved the day. A statue of Balto and the lead dog who crossed the finish line in Nome was erected in New York City's Central Park in 1925. The inscription reads, "Dedicated to the indomitable spirit of the sled dogs that relayed the antitoxin 600 miles over rough ice, across treacherous waters, and through Arctic blizzards, from Nanana to the relief of stricken Nome." 3 additional words were added to the bottom of the inscriptions: endurance, fidelity, and intelligence. The race, while historic, also stirred some controversy. Most of the credit and fame from this race was bestowed upon the lead dog Balto, which is what the Disney movie is focused on. However, many believe that the lead dog Togo completed the longest and hardest part of the trek. He raced 261 miles compared to Balto's 55. That's incredible. That's like going from here to New Hampshire.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Some believe that Fox was the true lead dog on Gunnar's team and not Balto. Also, the Alaskan mushers were not recognized as fully as the Norwegian mushers. We all know why that is.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they completed the most of the race. But I think all of us would agree that this was an historic and amazing mission of mercy that saved many lives, and you may wonder what happened to the dogs. Well, a few passed away from the demanding trek, but most survived. Balto lived until he was 14, and his body is now displayed at the Cleveland Museum of Natural History. Togo lived to the age of 16 and is now on display at the Iditarod Museum in Wasilla, Alaska.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. I didn't know they were stuffed and mounted. That's kind of cool.
Long lives for a large breed.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's why I would never own a husky.
Right? And then people are like, I don't know why he doesn't like living in 98 degree temperature in New York in the summer.
My apartment.
Right. Well, I don't know. I love that story. It's a historical story. A lot of people are mistaken in thinking that's where the Iditarod race came from, because it's from Nome to, what was the other one?
Togo.
I forget.
No,
Nome to wherever,
is this a test?
which is the Iditarod race. But actually, the Iditarod Trail, which is what they traveled on, was actually created like 100 years prior to that. So they did travel the Iditarod Trail, but the race was not created because of Balto's race.
Interesting.
So anyway, I was obsessed with sled dogs for a long time. when I was a
Your
kid.
first dog was a husky, so
Yeah,
makes
that's
sense.
cool. All right, we should probably wind this up. How many hours are we at, Jacob?
116.
Oh, that's not too
Not
bad.
bad
That's not
at
bad.
all.
That's not too bad. Good thing you have a lot of days off this week coming
Oh
up.
God, yeah. We could talk some more.
I think we should wrap it up.
He thinks we should wrap it up. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody joining us today. I don't even know which camera to look at. Camera 1, camera 2. I appreciate everybody joining us today on episode 4 of season 2 of Dog for Thought. It's been fun. Thank you, Monica and Nancy, for joining us
Thank you.
today. It was
And spay and neuter. Just want to put that in there.
It was a great conversation on grooming, so I appreciate you guys making the trek.
Yeah, thank you.
Having us.
All right. You good?
Yeah,
It was fun.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Dog for Thought is written and hosted by me, Sarah Brown, co-hosted by Sophie Brown, produced, edited, and original music by Jacob Brown. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.